Hello, everyone, and welcome to Monday Mindshift. I'm Sean Michael, the inner potential, your inner. Let's try that again. I'm Sean Michael, your inner potential activator, here to shift mindsets, even just a little. I'm happy to have everyone who might be watching either live or via replay. Please let me know in the comments if you're here watching. You can use hashtag replay to let me know you're part of the replay crew. Live comments I'll see right away. So feel free to comment because I want this to be lively. I want this to be interactive. I'm here to share, but this isn't just the Sean show. This is it's a conversation. Let's learn together. Let's figure this out together, as I say on my podcast. Anyway, I'm excited for this topic today about emotional sobriety. Um, Love to hear people put in the comments when you saw the title. What were your thoughts when you saw that title, emotional sobriety? Here's how I see it. It's about being in control of our emotions and being okay with ourselves so that we don't need as much, we don't chase that high that we get from the likes, the comments, the praise, the external validation. Um, because that's not real confidence. If we're waiting for somebody to say good job, or we're waiting for someone to say, I love what you're doing, if that's the only approval, if that's where we validate it, it's very weak. And it's not confidence, as I said in the post, it's actually dependency. It's like a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction. That's why I chose the title Emotional Sobriety, because it's being strong in yourself and leading. And here's the truth: everyone's a leader in some way. You might not have a title that says you're a leader, but maybe you have a home and a family that you have some leadership. Maybe it's your group of friends. And the truth is, you know, you can be a leader in any level. You know, it doesn't have to be leading down. I've coached people, and I've seen other people coaching lead up. If you've got a bad supervisor who just doesn't seem to be doing the job very well, lead up, right? Take the reins, be the leader. And leadership is not about barking orders or commanding respect. It's about influence. That's really, John Maxwell says, leadership 100%, it's about influence. And we all have some level of influence in different circles, whether at work or our friend circles or at our educational pursuits, whatever. So, as I said, if you're leading for the likes or the comments or the applause and the constant, reassurance, you're not leading, you're performing. You're it's like an actor on a stage, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people love acting or loving to go see a play or a movie. We love it. But the catch is when we're leading for that recognition, the applause, it feels good. It's part of being a human. We like to be approved, right? People say nice work or compliments. We appreciate that. But if we become dependent on it, where we need it to survive, then it owns you, right? You're not in control anymore. This constant search for approval or recognition or the applause. So, emotional sobriety in this case is about being clear about your truth, the truth that you're sharing, the message you're sharing, even if nobody's celebrating it, even if nobody's applauding or saying, "Great work, I love what you shared." It's being, if you know what you're sharing is useful and valuable, you don't need that recognition. Now, most what we would call leadership problems, they're not leadership problems. They're approval addictions. We call it ambition sometimes. Now, I'm not saying that ambition is a bad thing, but a lot of times we have to look at it, right? We have to look, am I chasing this goal or this path so that I can get the recognition, or am I doing it for other purposes, right? It all comes down to why. And I'll leave this on screen. If your confidence needs an audience, it's not confidence, it's a craving, just like food cravings or any other craving, right? It owns you. You feel like you have to have it. You see, approval is like junk food. It's emotional junk food basically, right? I'll admit it. I like to go to McDonald's sometimes. Those fries are darn good. But, this approval of what we're doing for every little thing, it's like junk food. It tastes good, it feels good for the moment, but in the end, it's kind of not useful. It's unhealthy. It leaves you feeling empty. Because when you're letting the applause, the approval set your worth, when the world goes silent, when there is no comments, there is no applause, there is no likes, etc., it's like starvation, right? It's like skipping lunch, but not because you chose to skip it, but because you were denied it. Validation, it's addictive. It can be very addictive, getting those likes, the praise, the positive feedback. But if that's your focus in your leadership and you start to crave this approval, it's a trap of image management, because you have to keep putting on this same show. You have to keep doing better the next time, right? You have to put a better show on. You have to stretch further. You have to be careful about everything you do, because suddenly you're up on a pedestal waiting to fall, right? The truth is real leadership, it's about impact, not impressions, not likes. You want to be an influencer and get lots of likes, lots of views, go for it. But that's not leadership. Real leadership is making a real impact in others, influencing them, helping them improve, helping them rise up, to go to a higher level, to be better, to have more joy, more peace, more purpose. The truth is real leaders aren't addicted to attention. Real leaders are anchored in their values, their mission, their vision. They know where they want to go. They're anchored to it. So it doesn't matter. Elon Musk is a perfect example. People love him and then they hate him. And he says stuff because he's aligned with his values, what's important to him and where he wants to go. And he's not chasing the likes. Now, here comes, emotional sobriety. Practicing emotional sobriety is where true freedom lives, right? If we're chasing everything to be liked, to be approved, to be applauded, and I heard of a story once. The teacher comes to the classroom and she writes some words on the board. And one of the students says, "Oh, you made a mistake." And she says, "Isn't it interesting? All these other things I wrote correctly and well, and did anybody notice it? No, you noticed the one mistake." See, we're wired to see that. And when you're leading for approval, for those likes, etc., the applause, takes one mistake and it's all dashed, right? And people they change their thoughts. All you have to do is look at presidential elections. One minute we hate him, and the next minute half the country is voting for him. Now, I'm just making things up. I'm not talking specifically about candidates, but that's the reality. You can be liked because you're saying all the things everybody wants to hear. You're tickling the ears. But all it takes is one mistake and you've lost it all. All the recognition, all the gain from the good things you shared is gone. So let me interject this question here. Where in your life are you hooked on this praise or approval? I don't need an answer. This is not a question I'm asking for my purposes. This is a question to ask yourself. Where are you hooked on this? Like you're addicted to the praise or the approval. Just think about it, right? Think about, what is it? Why? What can you do to change it? And imagine walking into any room. Hello, Lisa. Thank you for joining. Glad to have you here. But as I was saying, imagine walking into any room, saying what really needs to be said, and being okay if not one person claps. Could you really do that? That your truth, you're so strong in the truth you're sharing, the words you're sharing, that you know it needs to be said, you say it, and you're okay with no applause. Because emotional sobriety, it's about self-trust, not ego, right? It's the ego that wants that attaboy, attagirl, that nice work, good job, right? But when we are confident and believe in what we're sharing as useful, as valuable, as necessary, could you walk into a room and be okay with no applause? Right? Because real leaders, they lead with clarity, even when it's unpopular. They make decisions without all the answers sometimes. right? Because they know that the organization, the group needs to do this. And when we stop chasing validation, that's when we can really find our voice. To really share ourselves and the truth and the knowledge that we've gained in our life and our experience. So, my next question for you, whether you're watching live or the replay, is this: if you weren't afraid of being judged, what is the truth, or what truth would you speak more boldly? Let's just sit on that for a moment. If you were not afraid of being judged, what is that truth you might share? Because you are most powerful when you no longer need to be liked. That's true freedom. That's true leadership. Influencers, they post things because that's what people like, right? They go viral. They want to go viral. Why does people watch Mr. Beast? Because he's fun, he's interesting, he does some crazy stuff. But is he really leading? Is he really making life better? Is he building a legacy for the future of mankind, of humankind? That's what I want to leave. I want to leave a legacy in my son, in the world, in my local community, etc. Right? And my final question for my part here: how do you feel if nobody notices your effort? Does it shift your value? Does it lower your worth? I want to tell you, it doesn't. Right? Your value, your worth, it's not about approval. It's not about being noticed. Yes, we like it. It feels good. It gives us that happy chemical release. But just like everything else that gives us those happy chemicals, things like dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, if we don't pay attention, they can become addictive. And we've all seen what happens when we become addicted to things. We lose ourselves. And we can end up in this trap where we're trying to justify ourselves so we can feel better. And we go through this figure eight, right? I'm on top of the world. I'm in the bottom of the pit. I'm in the top of the world. I'm on the bottom of the pit. I'm at the top of the world. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to live like that anymore. I refuse to live like that. I'm done with mediocrity. I'm done with being stuck in the traps. What about you guys? With that, I invite others to join me in the studio here because I'd love to hear the voices of others. That's why I started Monday Mindshift. It wasn't so I could do a teaching, so I could pontificate. I want to have a conversation. So I'd love to have you join me in studio if you're watching live. Share with me, what are your thoughts on seeking approval, chasing approval, developing self-worth outside of it, right? How do we practice that to value ourselves regardless of recognition or approval or applause? Right? You can ask yourself, is this true to me? Or am I just trying to impress? Am I sharing this because it's my truth? Or am I sharing it for the applause? Here's another activity you can do. Get a notebook, a journal. You can do a digital journal. It doesn't matter, whatever works for you. Create your own record of the wins no one saw, right? So that you practice noticing the things that you did, the wins, the wonderful things you've done, and nobody cared. Nobody recognized them. Because when your brain recognizes them, then you build your value internally, and that's what matters. Because nobody can take that away from you, right? If we're seeking external validation, that can be destroyed in an instant, right? I saw it in my own life where a mistake destroyed any reputation. And we've seen it in other people as well. And we learn to self-validate, right? We know our values and we make our decisions aligned with those values. They don't have to be popular. They don't have to be accepted by everybody, right? Build yourself a checklist, your values checklist. Ask yourself, is this true? Is it in alignment with my values? Recognize yourself. Practice gratitude for the successes you've had, the little wins. Right? And most valuable is start with your intention every day instead of social media, because social media is designed to actually suck us into that trap, that emotional drunkenness, right? We see everybody else that has a nicer car or a better body or more money or more success, and we instantly go into self-judgment mode. And that doesn't help us, right? So start with yourself. Start thinking about with your attention. Right? You can use affirmations. I start my morning every morning with my affirmations. Things that are true about me, things I want to be true about me. Right? Sometimes my affirmations have a part of it that is absolutely 100% true this moment. And then there's the stretch. Right? Or maybe where I don't feel like I'm actually there right now. I'm expecting cricket sounds. I sure miss my co-host Suniti because I had no problem filling this conversation. And I pray she's doing okay. Haven't heard from her, so I don't know what's going on. But I make you this statement. If this topic stirred something in you, you found yourself navigating this pressure to be liked, recognized, feeling like you can't be 100% you or 100% honest. Maybe you feel stuck between who you really are and who you believe people want you to be. I offer you this space to talk. I've opened a few spots on my calendar, just a conversation, private, just you and me talking about it, looking at what what's driving you, what's holding you back, what's how can you self trust yourself more? How can you lead yourself more? If you're interested, you can comment connect in the messages. No pressure, just my presence, listening, asking some good questions to help you find the answers. Because you have them. You just don't know it yet. You have greatness in you. Every one of us does. We've just been trained to hide it. We've been conditioned to not believe it. So if you're ready to take a step forward, like I said, just put connect in the comments. I'll reach out to you privately. We'll talk some more. But rather than drag this out, if nobody is watching, nobody's wanting to join, I thank you for your time that you've dropped by live or after the fact on the replay. See you next week on Monday Mindshift. Every Monday, same time, 12 p.m. Eastern. Maybe I need to reevaluate it. I don't know. Let me know. Put a comment. It's too early. It's too late. I'd love to hear from you guys. What are your challenges? Where are you chasing approval or applause in your relationships, in your work, and your on social media? Where are you struggling? Where are your challenges in your life, business, and relationships? Let me know. I want to hear. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.